Hi there, welcome to Master Your Mental Health. It's Dr. Jackie and Alyson here. I have questions. I have a question for Alyson. Time outs, are those effective in terms of helping manage children's behavior? And go.
A good question, right? Today we're talking a little bit about discipline and how to manage. We talked before about temper tantrums. And
I'll link that.
Perfect.
There. Yeah.
And Jackie's the one that's good at doing that.
I'm the techie person.
She's going to put that in there. But one of the other things, and a lot of parents ask, is does timeout work? Is timeout effective? Is this a good strategy? So what I want to say about this is sometimes timeouts can work quickly and they can work for a little while, but they don't tend to keep working. Mm-hmm. And in fact, they can increase your children's anxiety.
Okay.
So I'm not a huge fan of timeouts. Mm-hmm. And I honor people and trying what they are trying to do, and I understand the frustrations of parenting and why people want to have a solution. But I think that when you impose separation on a child, mm-hmm. it creates anxiety and fear in them.
Sort of like being shunned, I guess, right?
Oh my goodness, Jackie, that is the perfect word for it. And frankly,
it's like a rejection.
It's like a rejection.
Yeah.
It creates fear in the child.
Yeah.
They flip out. And I've talked before about how, as a parent, you're kind of a regulator for your child.
Yeah.
You help regulate their emotions, but if you put them away from you in a time of need like that, what you can do is escalate all the things that you are actually trying to extinguish.
Right.
So I have another approach, right?
Yes.
And my approach is called a time in.
And what's that?
Well, it's the opposite of a timeout.
Yeah.
But often what a time is about attachment and connection with your child. So if your child is dysregulated in some way and they're acting out and they're, behaving poorly, that's a good time for connection, not disconnection. Connection, not disconnection.
Right, because then you're saying it's okay to feel bad, or it's okay to not be perfect.
It's okay,
and you're not going to be rejected if you're not.
And it's okay to have help from somebody, during that time.
Yeah.
So a time in would often look like this. It might be that child misbehaving. Maybe you're having some friends over for dinner and your kid's acting up and says something, embarrassing and silly, and rather than send them to the room all by themselves, you say, hey, come on, it's time for us to have a time in. Mm-hmm. You remove yourself with the child.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And you calm the child.
Right.
And you let them know that you're being there. And say messages like this. Tell them, hey, you know what? We can work through this. Mm-hmm. There's nothing we can't work through. Mm-hmm. We're going to figure this out. I'm here with you.
Yeah.
It's okay to make mistakes. I can understand why you're frustrated. It's not okay to call your cousin a name like that.
Yeah.
And we're going to need to kind of make that right. But right now, why don't we calm ourselves first? Take a few deep breaths. That's a time in. Mm-hmm.
I see. The other thing, and what's so important about this message, and what actually I did with my kids when they were younger, was I always told them it was okay to make a mistake.
Yes.
And so if they made mistakes, they would come to me, and knowing that they weren't going to be punished for the mistake. Yeah. It was more, okay, Mom, this has happened. I've done this. Now how do I make it right? So I helped them make it right. More like coaching and less like parenting.
Yeah.
Or how others would define parenting.
Parenting is coaching.
Yeah,
really.
Exactly, right?
And it's and I think that's the part we need to understand is parenting is coaching. And that's part of our job. And you can say to your children, it's my job right now to talk to you about this and to help you learn from this. So one of the things people say, and when you're talking about punishment, right?
Yeah.
Is it's got a bad rap. Punishment has a bad rap. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
But people think punishment is discipline.
Yeah, no, it's not.
And it's not.
Yeah. So you're talking about punishment and discipline. Right. Tell me what you mean by discipline.
Well, discipline is not punishment, right? Punishment's got a bit of a bad rap, as well it should, because it is you don't
punitive,
and you don't tend to teach people great lessons that
way. It's negative.
But discipline is actually Latin for to teach. right?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So our job is to discipline our children.
Oh, interesting.
Our job is to teach our children. So in this timeout thing, you know, what we're teaching them is if you do something, you make a mistake, you get disconnection.
Yeah.
We want, by using the time in, to teach them that you can make mistakes, you can work through things, and I'm here beside you to do so.
And stay plugged in with the people around you. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. So
I actually, my kids really didn't ever need timeouts anyway. My daughter put herself in one by herself
just
because she felt like she was doing something. She thought about doing something wrong, so she put herself in a timeout, which you can, knowing my daughter, you can understand how that would have happened.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But
okay, well that's
excellent.
it on time out, time in. Let's think about that, and I like that approach, and time in sounds like an idea.
Yeah. Time in. Time is good for all of us.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Thanks for joining us on Master Your Mental Health. And as always, this is not considered to be medical or psychiatric or therapeutic advice. If you're having serious difficulties, please contact one of the specialists in your area.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Bye.